Are you ready to do it?
Yeah. I mean, is he on the phone?
Yeah. Nico, can you hear us?
Yep.
Oh, hello, Nico.
Hello.
Claux.
What's up?
Well, I want to say, thanks for taking some time out of your evening or night to be on the show with us. Yeah.
It's over midnight there, right?
Pleasure. Yeah, it's midnight.
Oh wow! All right, that's cool. Well, obviously, you know why we're wanting to talk to you because of some things that happened in your past, more or less. Real quick, there's 4 of us at the table. My name's Owen. You know Dirt.
I'm Dirt. Yeah.
We have Bushy.
Hello.
And we have a female here. This is Boston Britt.
Hello.
Hello.
So you might hear questions from any one of us at any time. But before we really start this interview, I know you.
Can I say one thing real fast? Nico, I spoke to Merle Allen yesterday and told him you were going to be on my show, and he said, "Oh, fucking Nico's cool, man."
Yeah. I've known him for a while. Yeah.
Well, the News Junkie, is that one of your favorite bands?
No, Murder Junkie.
Murder Junkie. I'm sorry.
No, I think Merle started writing to him when he was in prison and buying his artwork.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah, he used to write me back in 1996 or 7.
All right. So Merle's a little suspect too. So.
No, Merle at one time Merle had the largest collection of serial killer artwork in the world. He was on Court TV with his collection and everything. Yeah. And Nico's artwork is much better than the colored pencil drawings you would get from Richard Romero. So of course Merle collected a lot of Nico's stuff.
Yeah.
I like your Ted Bundy.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, I have your website on here, Serial Pleasures, and yeah, you got some talent here. But all right, before we get into the interview, I don't want to waste any of your time. So I'm sure people ask you some of the same questions over and over again. What are some of the questions that you get asked all the time that annoy you? Just so we don't go down that road.
Nothing, I'm used to it. It's part of the game, so. I don't really get annoyed or anything, It's just, it's part of the rules, I'm an oddity. People consider me as an oddity, as a freak. So they
accepted.
Imagine. Yeah, I mean, imagine you're in front of the Elephant Man. What kind of question would you ask him?
Yeah. Well, hold on. Do you
see what I mean?
You just said people consider you a freak and a weirdo and all this stuff. Do you consider yourself a freak after the stuff that has happened?
Well, I consider 99.9% of the population as freaks. So,
you're one of them.
Hold on. Maybe, but. Not most of us who are a little weird. See, I've read about you once. Dirt came to me about you, and you used to hang out in graveyards when you were a kid and stuff. And I think that's fucking cool. I would do the same thing. And I have, and in my adult life, I used to go out looking for ghosts, and we'd go into graveyards and abandoned buildings and stuff. But where does it go from being interested in history and graves and death to
what does he taste like?
Yeah, what does he taste like? Can I eat that?
Yeah, I pushed it a little bit further than that. So
I'm trying not to piss you off because I don't want to be.
He said that nothing. He said nothing bothers him. He understands, what his role is in this. You're free to ask whatever, right?
Yeah.
No. More seriously, when I was a kid, I was deeply obsessed with murder fantasies.
Okay.
And I've been obsessed with these ideas. It was obsessive thoughts. I don't know if you're familiar with this term, obsessive thoughts.
Yeah.
But this is when you wake up in the morning and you cannot think of anything else except one thing.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah.
So
So I just couldn't, go on my day and think and focus on other things. I was really bad at school. I was really bad at focusing on other stuff because I had those obsessive thoughts. I wouldn't be able to tell you where they came from. It came naturally when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I developed them and I nurtured them, and one thing led to another.
Yeah. Well, I saw in one of your interviews you mentioned, or somebody was talking about your mother and how she kind of had some mental issues and she thought you were the devil or something like that. Is that true?
Yeah, it kind of runs in the family. Well, yeah, I have a lot of relatives who had
so do
issues.
Do you feel more self-aware now than you did back then? Like, did you not realize it was as bad back then as you do now?
Yeah, for me back then it was natural. I didn't ask myself any questions. It was just me against the world, and I just felt like an alien, and I just couldn't understand people. Just period. I just couldn't. I just didn't know how to function among people.
You're describing this table pretty much. So, I mean,
every single one of us, buddy. I haven't figured it out yet.
But all right. So
yeah.
Where was your dad? Like when your mother was having mental issues and thinking you were the devil when you were a child and basically blaming you for her issues. Where was your dad?
He was a world traveler because of his job. He had to go in several countries. He would go for 2 months in a row, come back, then go away again. So he wasn't really at home, but most of the time. But yeah. So
Nico, I know from reading or from listening to your interviews and reading the books. So your father was an anthropologist, right?
No, not exactly. No, he was very fond of anthropology, and especially Africa and Southeast Asia. But his job was he was an IT for a French bank, and he would go to other banks around the world for. It was the beginning of computer networks, so he was deeply involved in that. But his main hobby was anthropology.
So that being said, Mike, so with the grave robbing stuff, right? So when you would go into a tomb, and in France, I know the tombs are old, right?
Yeah.
Was it like unearthing like a fossil when you would open up some of these tombs that had been closed for hundreds of years? Like what? What's the feeling? Because I'm a very curious person about history. So is it like a time capsule when you open one of these tombs that's been closed for hundreds of years? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, there definitely was some level of curiosity. And you have to remember this happened in the 80s. So, of course, before the internet.
Yes.
So you couldn't really have access to sites like ogrish.com or stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember that one.
You know what I mean? When you were a death-obsessed kid in the 80s, the only material you had to work with was the VHS tape of Faces of Death.
Holy shit, this guy is talking about my childhood.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Brittany, go ahead.
Okay.
And when you wanted to take things a little bit further, like me, well, you had to do those things, and those things.
That's where the problem is.
Yeah.
All right.
He's just more motivated than you.
No. I think if maybe
Nico is a highly motivated person.
Exactly.
He's a doer.
Okay, so when you were going through tombs, what was the most fascinating thing that you found in the tombs?
Oh, I was just, curious about the process of decomp. So that was
So you weren't really looking for any treasure.
No. I can totally relate to this. My dad died when I was 8. And when I was like 10, 11, 12, I would always think, I wonder what he looks like down there. I wonder if I could go dig him up and look at him and see what he looks like. And is he just bones or what? So I can totally relate with you, Nico, there. But I just cannot relate to... Tell me your first time taking somebody's life, I guess. Like, how did you get to that?
My only time, you mean?
It only happened once.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, but where you used to work, you used to take samples home, kind of like doggy bags, right?
Okay, I did that too. Yeah.
All right. So how? Tell me about that one time that it happened. Like, how do you get from just a morbid curiosity of death to I'm going to see what it looks like to kill somebody.
So those murder fantasies, I had been living with them since I was like 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when I was in school, I had absolutely no friends. I was totally lonely. And I developed murder fantasies on the other classmates, on the other schoolmates. So it was like those Columbine kids, more or less, except that it was a bit earlier than that.
Okay.
And I had those murder fantasies. I even brought knives at school and stuff like that. I got detention for that.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, when I found a job in a morgue years and years later, after a stunt in the army, I had those coworkers that I just could not stand. They were insufferable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there were 3 of them, and I had this fantasy. Well, not this fantasy. I had this plan actually of killing them one after the other.
Okay, and lots of us have that.
Like, we've all been there.
Yeah,
exactly. Except that me, I was really, focused on doing this, and yeah, that's maybe the difference between me and a regular Joe who's actually acting on fantasy and who's curious about those things. Is that I easily get obsessed over them.
Okay,
and I'm also a very hyperactive. See what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
I just can't stand still. I have to do things.
Yeah.
And if I don't do the things I want, I consider it as a failure.
Yeah.
And I think it's a common trait among psychopaths and serial killers. It's people usually who just cannot satisfy themselves with fantasy alone. They have to go a bit further than that.
Yeah, I guess.
In my life,
I mean, if you got to stab, you got to stab.
I guess.
Exactly.
I don't know.
But Stabber's got to stab, man.
That's how we roll.
Yeah, more or less. But jokes apart.
Oh, well, Nico, okay. Let's get to where you're working in, like, I guess, the morgue. And you would take slices or what? Like, how would you get the meat? Like, where would you sample it from? Or
so I after an autopsy, you have to stitch them up, okay? And so I would, since I was left alone in the autopsy room with the bodies.
Yeah.
First, I started to slice pieces from the abdominal region and the ribs. And,
everybody likes ribs.
Yeah. But then I would take the strips back home. I had these boxes that I would use, and I tried different ways of cooking the strips, eating them. So it wasn't those huge stacks. Like, it's not, people usually imagine that, like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was just little strips of flesh, and it was more. It was not so much about the taste; it was more about the experience itself.
Hold on.
And
I read something that, like, when the police came and got you, there were like body parts and like spines hanging in your.
Oh no! This is not true. There were bones because I had stolen bones from several graveyards, so I had plenty of skulls.
Okay, that's more understanding.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably had more skulls at home than Jeffrey Dahmer.
Hey, I see on your website you sell painted skulls. Are those real human skulls?
Yeah. I still have skulls at home. I mean, it's something I can easily get. It's something,
Wait, so so in Europe you can buy skulls?
I buy, trade.
Okay.
Dig up. Enough asking questions. Bushy, you had a question.
I'm sure Nico probably knows in America that's illegal, so that's crazy. That's cool to me.
No, it's not illegal.
Oh, it's not?
There's 3 states where it's illegal to buy skulls or human remains, but most of the states you can actually legally purchase them.
Oh, wow.
Huh. And I imagine if you got caught stealing a skull in France, it'd be what, like 3 days in prison or something like that?
Let's not try to steal anything.
Exactly. But Bushy,
yeah, just real quick, because he said about slicing off the rib. Did you experiment with different parts of the body? Did different parts of the body taste different?
No, I just had access to the open wound the cavity, the beginning from the ribs to the abdominal cavity.
Like in the Y incision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Y incision. So this is the only part I had access to. If I had started to cut off limbs and bring them home, it would have been easily detected. So.
That's what was my confusion there. But all right. I do have a couple questions from like some of the fans and stuff. One person said they wanted to know, when you ate human flesh, did you use any like condiments? Did you use ketchup or mayonnaise, or did you just eat it plain?
Yeah, I use a few different things. More mayo than ketchup. So.
Okay.
Hey, me too. I'm a mayo guy.
Yeah, but
what brand mayo?
Honestly, this was not the focus, the main focus for me.
Sure.
It was just more about the experience and the rush, because it gave me a rush. And I was living on that rush. It was like an addiction. Mm-hmm. And it's the same when you taste blood and you actually get an addiction for blood. It's exactly the same process.
Some people eat chocolate, you get that rush.
Yeah, chocolate.
So is human like a red meat, or like what is it similar to? Pork. That people would know?
Red, like veal.
I love veal.
Okay.
Damn, I'm going to feed some people.
That's what I would... Yeah. So I know you guys don't eat horse, but that's, in Europe.
Not on purpose,
we sometimes do.
Okay.
And this is something that I could relate to in terms of taste, because there's a sweetness to it.
Okay.
But I guess I've heard it depends. I did not make any comparisons, but I've heard that it also depends on ethnicity. Some people taste sweeter than others.
Oh, really?
Oh, man.
What's the sweetest race? Yeah.
It's people who have diets that have a lot of fruits in them, and sugar. So I've heard that I've heard that in an ethnography book, and it was actually something that was found out by the world. How do you call that? Those people in the 18th century who went around the world for the first time, and they met lots of cannibal tribes.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to eat the locals, but they also got to eat the dead sailors. So they would try different ethnicities, and they found out that they had different tastes according if they were Europeans or from the South Pacific, for example. So that's interesting.
That is pretty neat.
Too bad I just eat tofu. I probably taste like shit. But all right, Brittany, you have a question.
So, I have tattoos. Would that also make the meat taste different?
Stop flirting. I'm sorry.
Well, how deep are your tattoos? I mean, cannibals don't eat skin. You take the skin away.
Okay.
This guy's for real, man.
Well,
so you wait a minute. So chicken, like if you eat chicken,
I was about to say
the skin is good.
It's fried chicken.
So the skin isn't good. You want to get down to the actual meat?
No, I never really tried.
Yeah. And also, let me just say, Boston Brit, Nico is a married man, so
yeah, calm yourself, Prego.
Stop flirting with Nico. Nico, my wife asked me to say hello to Kat.
Okay, well, definitely.
Oh, she's with you.
No, she's sleeping.
Oh, she's sleeping, of course. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's half past midnight.
Yeah.
Well, time out, guys. All right, you brought Kat up. That's your lovely wife. I saw a picture of her on the internet and stuff.
And also, Nico, she's great on your YouTube videos. It's really.
Oh, thank you.
I think that she like grounds you in a way. It's so funny because if she wasn't there, it would be so easier for you to get into your head and just be the vampire of Paris. And she she adds that comedy to it where you can't get like so full of yourself. You're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Plus, naturally, I have this dark humor that people they don't get this side, and at least doing the YouTube videos, I get to show this dark comedy side that I have.
Yeah.
Which you know what I mean.
And they say if you can make a woman laugh, you can get her, and apparently you're living proof of that. So, like, I don't understand. we've got Bushy here. He's been single for a while now, and he's a great guy. He's a nice guy.
That's the problem.
He wouldn't harm an animal. Yet you get out of jail. You used to eat some people, and you land a pretty decent hot chick. What is your secret? How did you do that?
Big old dick.
Big old dick.
It's the French accent, I guess.
Wait, is it? So it's not the big old dick.
Also.
See, there is no God. This guy can eat
the devil dick.
He's a big dick. Man, all right.
So can I ask you a quick? So you released a cookbook, correct?
Oh yeah, a while ago, yeah. And it's been released in 3 languages.
3 languages. How are the sales on that?
Oh, pretty good. It's a good bestseller. Actually, it's regularly, and I've been publishing it for 12 years now, and it's still selling. Yeah, people love that shit.
Yeah, and if you want to try the recipes, you can try veal, right? And it should taste really close.
There's about 20 different cannibals in the book, and each one has a different recipe. And so you get famous ones like Dahmer or Albert Fish or other famous
Dahmer.
cannibals. But yeah, Dahmer is a bicep steak.
Hey, so
with some Jack Daniels on it.
Oh, buddy, man after my own heart. I'm drinking the whiskey right now, buddy.
All right. I got a few. How are we doing on time? We're all right.
We're good. We got about 10 minutes. So also one question I was asked. My wife told me to ask you, what is your favorite cannibal joke that people ask you?
Cannibal joke. Well, there's plenty, but I can't come up with one right now.
Is there one you get sick of? Like people ask you, does it taste like chicken or some shit like that?
Or do clowns taste funny or stuff like that?
That's great.
Do farmers taste corny? I don't know. No, never mind. That's so stupid. I know. I'm sorry. I'm not good with my eating people jokes. Step
it up.
I have a question.
My brother just texted when he said the frustrated cannibal threw up his hands.
So whenever you're in a bad mood, does your wife ask what's eating you?
Oh, that she could. That's a good one.
All right, Rick, Brittany, you have a question for Nico?
So, how did you get into Satanism?
Oh, that was a while back because it was me against the world. So when you're in that kind of mood,
so that was
looking for the
bad
guy, the ultimate bad guy being Satan. Then you relate to that character, right?
So would you say it was almost like an extreme form of teenage angst? Like there's a lot of people and like darker bands and stuff, but you just kind of were further.
So you're not.
Yeah, exactly, more or less. I've never been a people's person per se.
Neither have I. Yeah.
But the more I grow, the more I'm sarcastic about the whole situation, and I guess I'm getting more and more misanthropic, if that's a word. If that's a word, but yeah,
I don't know what it means.
I just I just observe the world from a distance and see what's going on, and I just enjoy watching the show because it's more about bad things than good things at the end. So I just have my seat.
Well, Nico,
I write my books,
Nico,
and
do you believe in Satan, in God?
I do believe that there is an energy created by all the people who believe in God, and that energy is not that good, okay? Because there's more evil than actual good in the world. Mm-hmm. And when I'm talking about evil, I'm not talking about extremely evil, but everyday evil, and jealousy and anger and
like when you
all those little bad things,
stuff like that, like Ghostbusters 2. where everybody gets pissed off in New York City, and the slime. Never mind. You probably don't have.
No, that's exactly what he was talking about. He said there's an energy. There's positive and negative energy, and overall there's more negative energy.
Have you seen the movie Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The big slime, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Ghostbusters.
That's where he gets his artwork from.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I got a question. Do you got any good prison stories? Anything that happened while you're in prison that was crazy?
Yeah, I got plenty. Some of them are in my book that I wrote a biography called Gospel of Blood. But I painted, for example, a portrait of Pablo Escobar for his daughter.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know when I was actually doing it. It was for a cartel guy that was a few cells away from me. And when I did the painting, he asked me for the painting. When I did the painting, he said, yeah, it's for his daughter.
So that's cool as shit.
I thought that was really cool. Yeah, that was one of the cool prison stories that I had. That I have.
Were most
but there was plenty of stories.
Were most of the other inmates like kind of scared of you or nervous of you because you're
Right. So there's prison politics, and sometimes when there's an inmate like me, some of the other inmates try to manipulate you into committing crimes for them. So they tell you, okay, this guy ratted on you, this guy said this, he said that, you should go and eat his face off or whatever. So you have to be aware of those kind of things. Usually I was really aware of those guys trying to manipulate me into doing their dirty deeds. Mm-hmm. So I didn't fall into that.
Okay. Well, you're what, 49, almost 50 now?
I'm 50. Yeah, 51. 50? Right. 51.
Now, you've been out of prison for a while, and the stuff is way back in your past. And obviously, like you said, you make some mistakes. Some people make bigger mistakes than others and keep doing them. But you have stopped, and you don't ever get any like cravings or something to go back to have the experience again or anything like that?
No, because there's too much to lose here. You see what I mean?
You have a wife. You have somebody that loves you.
Yeah,
see,
exactly.
This goes back to your parents. I hate to say it. I blame your mom and your dad. I mean, they probably couldn't help it, but your dad wasn't there to protect you, and your mom was there attacking you. And you're as a kid, you believe what the adults say, and if your dad didn't care enough to protect you, you probably believed everything your mother said. And I
don't think it's only that. I don't think it's that easy,
black and white.
The answer, and I think there's also a big role in genetics. I think that some people are naturally born that way. That's something that I'm totally convinced of.
I would agree with that.
Well, I'm just saying, if your dad was around to show you, like, what a baseball was, because you might be the world's best baseball player right now. I'm just saying, and because you're dedicated to that. But all right, you are.
I'm dedicated, but there's also cravings that cannot be explained otherwise.
I got you.
Than genetics. So I don't know. I don't have a formula. I don't have any answers. I think that nobody can actually give you answers. There's some really simple formulas for really simple people, but some people are too complex for those formulas. And
not everybody fits in the same box.
I got you. All right, Brittany, real quick.
Did you ever think of trying to talk to anybody about this when you were a teenager to see if maybe talking about it would get it not cure you, but get it out of your head so that way you weren't craving or having the murder fantasies as much?
He didn't have.
No, because I was in a process where I was. For me, everybody was an enemy, so I couldn't trust anyone. So I really just couldn't let my guard down, and I just couldn't. Plus, I thought I was right when I was doing those things, and I think it's a common trait to. Any psychopath killer, they all think they're right. Even the people who believe that they act under the orders of God, for example. There's killers who kill sex workers because they sincerely believe that they are doing the good. You know what I mean? They are evil, but if you ask any people who worked in death camps in Germany in the 40s what they were doing and if they were evil, they would tell you that no, they were part of a system and they were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of evil. The nature of evil is that you are sincerely convinced that what you are doing is the right thing, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And there's no simple answer to that. And there's no, I don't know. It's a complex thing. I don't think that it can be understood by normal psychiatry or psychology. Those instruments that they have, psychologists and psychiatrists, they're too blunt to actually dissect this type of behavior. And it's an extremely complex situation that just cannot be understood that way.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Man, great answer.
Yeah, dude. Well, no, I told you. I was like, the thing I love about Nico is you're highly intelligent. So you speak at a level that I don't think a lot of people expect you to speak at, because I think they just expect you to be some crazy maniac that's talking about shit out of your head. But you're not. You're not. You're a normal. You're a highly thinking person. Now that being said, I heard you say in an interview that you were a fan of Randy the Macho Man Savage. And I am a Ric Flair fan, and so okay. I grew up when I was growing up as a kid. One of my dad's good friends and gym partners was Scott Hall, who I don't know if you that's Razor Ramon, you know.
Yeah,
so I grew up around him. He passed away last year. So I just thought about if you were not the amazing artist that you are, you could have been a professional wrestler. And holy shit, dude, your fucking gimmick would have been nuts.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
I don't want to show my girlfriend this picture, but look at this.
Oh, he's showing. So Owen is showing me a picture of you with your arms and the buff and all that stuff, and he won't show it. He won't show it to his girlfriend because he doesn't want her to get all hot and everything.
You've got a black pullover shirt and jeans, and no homo here, but you're a good-looking man.
I'm obsessed with Dahmer.
Nico,
okay.
did you ever consider? Do you ever think when you were a kid, you thought you wanted to be a wrestler at all?
Well, I had a good source of protein, so yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
good source of protein. Wow, yummy. Yeah, snap into a
fat dude. Have you watched any of the John Wayne Gacy tapes or the Dahmer tapes? Or the new series of Dahmer. Do they hit close to home when it comes to the cannibalism, or do you see similarities between you and Dahmer or any of them?
Yeah, I was 20-something, 21 or 22 when Dahmer was arrested, and I remember exactly watching the news on TV and thinking to myself, oh yeah, this guy, we definitely have some stuff in common. And so over the years, I studied the case. I've read some psychiatric reports. I've read the police interviews. I've read all those things, and I've been studying the Dahmer case for over 30 years now, more or less. Mm-hmm. I've even published 2 Dahmer books. So,
wow.
And I've been interviewed by the funny thing. The funny thing, I was interviewed 15 years ago for a British TV show on Dahmer, and they asked me my opinion on Dahmer, and I was talking about the blood bags that I had stolen at the hospital, etc. And I think that the producers of the Dahmer show actually saw that interview, because Dahmer never drank blood from blood bags, but in the show, in the TV show, you can see him actually drinking blood from blood bags.
Yeah.
Are you a fan? So obviously the Dahmer series that was on Netflix, that was written and produced by Ryan Murphy, the guy who produces American Horror Story. Are you a fan of American Horror Story?
Yeah, there's some good moments.
I think so too. I think that's an amazing series. My wife is the one who turned me onto it, and I love it. I think he's a really good storyteller.
Exactly, he knows his shit about true crime. That's for sure. And I cannot wait to see the 2 other shows that he's preparing with 2 other serial killers. Nobody knows yet who he will be talking about, but I'm looking forward to that.
Also, did you like Evan Peters as Dahmer? Because I thought he did an amazing job.
Yeah, he did an amazing job. He totally had all his the way he talks, the accent, and things like that. He was really good, and they really did some excellent research on the subject. There's many different aspects to Dahmer that are shown in the show.
The sensitive side that he nailed. He nailed the sensitive side. I didn't know that side of him. But yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I know it's getting close.
And the feeling of loneliness too. That was important to convey in the show, I guess.
Yeah.
The feeling of loneliness when you have those kind of dark fantasies, especially in the 70s, the 80s. You felt alone in the world, and this is how I could relate to him because I felt those same kind of urges when I was his age.
But nowadays, you have podcasts where people go on and talk about their feelings and stuff like that, where you can say, hear that, say that person has feelings like me, and I don't have to do what they did and go and kill or eat people or stuff like that. So anyway, real quick,
just real quick, what's your favorite movie?
What's your favorite movie?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Wait. Which one? Because there's like a bunch.
The first one, the 74 one.
Oh, okay.
I know we're running over on time, and Nico's been gracious with that.
No, it's okay. I can spend a few more minutes.
Okay. I have a question that was asked in the comment section of our podcast here that is, I think, the best question. Who would you want to play you in a biopic if a movie was made about your life?
Good question. Whoever asked that. Good job.
Nicolas Cage, because we share initials.
Nicolas Cage.
I would love to see Nicolas Cage as a cannibal.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, he'd do
it. He looks like he would be a cannibal.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that guy's eating people.
He plays vampires.
Here's the thing that's funny is, well, it's not funny, but if he was still alive, the guy that I think that Nico looks so much like is Peter Steele from Typo Negative, the band.
Yeah, I'm shorter than him, but yeah.
Have people told you before that you look like Peter Steele?
Well, here's a funny anecdote for you. There was somebody told me that there was a show in Australia, and the show was about they were showing pictures of criminals and rock stars, and the people in the audience had to guess if the person on the screen was a criminal or a rock star, and they showed my picture, and people thought it was a rock star.
Good shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. We appreciate it, Nico. Any last things you want to get out here? I know you have a podcast and you have your Serial Pleasures website.
I don't know if this podcast, he has his YouTube channel, but you have your website. Plug everything so our friends, our fans can listen, check it out.
So it's a travel show. It's a dark tourism show, and I go to different places and I talk about true crime and cemeteries and stuff like that. I also have my website, serialpleasures.com. There's a little bit of everything for everyone. I publish books. I'm actually working right now with the daughter of Arthur Shawcross to write her biography.
Oh, wow. Arthur Shawcross?
Dude.
Arthur Shawcross, yeah.
On his website, he has a very detailed action figure of the Zodiac Killer, 12-inch.
I do action figures.
Wait,
too.
Do you create those action figures?
Oh, it's a friend of mine who actually does them. He works for. Right now he's working for The Walking Dead, so he's a special effects artist.
Oh, Nico, you have one too. Look at that. $400, but
they're expensive because each one is unique. Mm-hmm. But that's there's everything for every budget on my website. So
it's really cool. Now, before we let you go, I got to ask one last question. I would not sleep tonight if I did not get to ask you this. You are a vampire. Can you turn into a bat?
Oh, I wish I could. All
right, you're not a real vampire. Faker. All right, Nico. We appreciate it. Your time. Thank you very much for realizing that we all have crap in our past, and you are doing what you can to not be like that anymore. And you're awesome.
Exactly.
Well,
for that. Thank you, man.
If it's okay with you, Nico, like maybe sometime down the road we can meet. We can do this again. I had a lot of fun talking to you.
Definitely. That was fun.
Yeah.
And real quick, and they told me not to ask you this, and I know you said you don't like eating skin, but I have a tattoo on my ring finger of a girl that I'm not with anymore. If I slice that shit off and fry it up, I'll eat half of it if you eat the other half.
Oh my God.
No? Okay, never mind.
He doesn't eat skin.
Hey, no, he didn't say no.
He didn't say no.
It could taste like bacon, honestly.
I'm in. I'll be eating myself all night. Anyway, all right.
That would be a first.
Yeah.
Hey, this was a lot of fun, man. Really appreciate you calling in.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Nico.
Thank you, Nico. You have a good night, buddy.
Thank you.
Later.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.
Later, dude.
You know, I mean, for a Satan worshiping cannibal, he was really pleasant.
That was fun. That was great.
Fun, right?
I think like I said, he has a great attitude about it. People have stuff in their past. It sounds like he's grown and moved past it. He's smart enough. He understands it, where it possibly came from.
It was great, except for this fangirl giggling over here.
Oh my god.
You gotta wipe the seat off.
I enjoy Dahmer.
That's weird.
Not any better. Not any better, honey.
Yeah, just
Dahmer's dead.
Screaming you enjoy Dahmer or you're obsessed with Dahmer does not make it less weird.
She keeps sliding off that seat.
I like death.
I like guys. Yeah.